I guess this is an opportunity to bring up Jeff Epstein. So, people sometimes wonder, like we're scientists, hanging out with him to get with these young women or something. I know scientists. There are some scientists like that. They were spending time with him because he was giving their laboratories money that they didn't have to write grants for.
Why was he doing that, though?
Oh, there are very strong opinions. I never met him. I know people who knew him. But he clearly understood social engineering. He understood that rich people they can get anything they want, except the one thing they can't easily control is their reputation, because that requires other people's perceptions. And just being rich doesn't make you necessarily respected. By certain people, yes. By certain people, no. So he understood that very wealthy people feel more important and can derive more sense of self-respect when they're surrounded by brilliant people. And he was very good at bringing truly brilliant people into that mix. People like Murray Gell-Mann, who discovered the quark, right? He's a particle physicist. I mean, head of the Santa Fe Institute, Nobel Prize. I mean, Gell-Mann used to pick on Richard Feynman. He was one of the few people who could maybe not verbally joust with him, but at a scientific level could pin that guy. So they were on more or less equal tier, but Gell-Mann was right up there. So Epstein understood, like, bring around the Gell-Manns, bring around the top genetic researchers from Harvard. By doing that, he made these rich people feel like they were in the company of interesting, important people.
Interesting.
And why would scientists spend time with rich people? I'll be really honest. I do a lot of work for these days for talking about science and trying to generate science philanthropy. That's a big part of my life now, trying to generate money to give to studies that are really interesting and valid. We could talk about that if you like. Scientists will show up to dinners that normally they'd rather be in their labs or writing grants or with their families, frankly, if there's the possibility of money being given to their laboratory, because then they can hire more people and do more science. Money alone doesn't drive good science, but the more money you have, the bigger margin of error you have. So if Epstein offered laboratories, $1 million a year for 4 years, to a guy of that wealth, that's trivial. To a laboratory, that is 4 National Institutes of Health grants per year. And the workload to maintain those 4 grants is immense. So they'd show up with the possibility of getting money. That's where they were hanging out with a dirtbag like him. And they had blinders on. Either they knew or they didn't know what he was up to, but they had blinders on because they weren't thinking about the implications.
Well, it was also one of the things about something like that must be that if you go there and you see Steven Pinker and you see Lawrence Krauss and you see Bill Gates, it seems like you should be there. It seems fine to be there.
Also, on sinister, diabolical, narcissistic, and sociopathic, but brilliant social engineering on the part of Epstein.
Yes.
He understood that they felt comfortable in the room because of who else was there.
Yeah.
Rich people will show up to a place for who's not there, as we know. They like to have space, right? And scientists generally don't like to hobnob. It's not really their thing. What they like to do is work on their pet projects. They're a little bit like comedians. They're in the sense that they have a craft they want to be working on. They're only going to do things like go out and get money if they have to get money, and they do a lot to get money.
Well, I'm sure there's a social aspect of it. And
Sure.
hanging around with other brilliant scientists at a wonderful place. You have good food and drink, and there's pretty girls around.
Yeah, but
it's probably exciting.
It's probably exciting, although I think that at some level, real scientists, dyed-in-the-wool scientists, would rather just be doing science and living their lives.
I mean, this is a very rare occasion. I'm sure that they're doing this.
So he had the whole thing, the Harvard shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, he ingratiated himself in this community. He just understood.